In-depth analysis from seasoned professionals. Start your day the right way on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info.
When you start with Nigeria Info, you start the best way ever. You're welcome to the front pages. This is 99.3 Nigeria Info, and it's time to look at the stories and make it to the front of the pages today. We'll look at the most interesting of them all. If they're the front page, then they must be pretty interesting. And we have here the Guardian newspaper, our media partner. The Daily Sun is also here. Daily Trust on my side of the table, as well as the Nation newspaper. And I am Wemimo Adewuni. Welcome.
I am Sheriff Quadry. Thank you for joining us. That's right. I have Daily Independent here, Vanguard newspaper, don't worry about it, and the Punch newspaper. Those are the papers I have in front of me. Gbolahan Olojede is back.
See who's back. I didn't see a bag with you when you came in. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Don't let's tell them. We'll talk about that later. Welcome back.
Yeah, good to be here.
Welcome back. Well, you came into the biggest story on the front pages today. Buhari, DSS get ultimatum to free Showore, Dasuki, and others. Who's giving the ultimatum? Foreign Affairs Ministry downplays comment by U.S. lawmaker. How activists ordeal forced deferral of award to Osinbajo. Also on the Daily Sun, Buhari gets 14 days ultimatum over Showore. CSOs threaten mass action. Wole Soyinka Center postpones award to Osinbajo in protest. The story is also reported by The Nation. Banner headline: row grows over Showore as presidency groups clash. You can read more of this story from The Nation newspaper. Rights bodies to occupy NHRC offices. That's the National Human Rights Commission office. And at 8 o'clock, we're talking to the former head of the National Human Rights Commission, Dr. Chidi Odinkalu, on Human Rights Day, which is today. Right. So join us.
From the front page of Daily Independent newspaper, CSOs vow mass protest, give Buhari 14 days to release Showore. Others, riders, FG planning to charge Showore with terrorism. Falana speaking, says DSS wanted Showore to sign death warrant. Daily Independent paper, if you like to read further.
Warrant.
It is
Who
that.
signs his own death warrant?
It is that serious.
Extreme.
It is that serious. It is that serious. Front page of the Vanguard newspaper, Showore's rearrest. Amnesty International, Serap, others threaten mass action. Riders issue 14-day ultimatum to federal government on his release. Demand apology from FG over desecration of Federal High Court by DSS. Vanguard is the paper if you like to read that story. Plus, of course, all the papers this morning.
Well, I hope by now the federal government knows that this Showore thing is not about to go down peacefully and just lay calm. It's not likely to go in that direction. What we're seeing right now is most likely the way it will go going forward, and it might actually get, tougher than what we have seen in the past.
Right.
Now you see the civil civil society organizations coming together, wanting to do something together.
From what I heard, about over 200 of them have come together.
And what does it take for things to take a life of their own? If they pull this through, if 200 civil society organizations pull through a protest like that, what will happen is that others will join.
But remember, the DSS gave a statement a while ago that they had uncovered plans by some group of persons to destabilize the country. And while in defense of the rearrest of Showore, they also said that, see, we told you there's going to be destabilization, and we hear that people are grouping to destabilize the country. So I hope it won't be like they'll protest and there will be a clampdown
protest. There will be attempts to do that. But you see, the world of some 3-4 decades ago is quite different from where we live today. And when you see those civil society organizations peacefully protesting, it's not going to be a story that is just going to be limited to the social media in Nigeria. It's going to be all over the whole world. And you can see the interest are already being shown. in some parts of the world. And in those parts of the world, we can be punished.
Do you think this government actually could be responsible for the action of these civil society groups? Because from what they said that the media and the civil space has been shrinking ever since this administration came into power. Is that an exaggeration?
There might have been some attempt to cower them, but I don't think anything we are seeing now can be likened to anything we had in the military times. And in the military times, the civil society organization were as strong as ever. So there is
In
no
fact,
excuse.
arguably stronger than they are now.
Exactly. So there's no excuse for civil society organization.
Well,
There's
let's
no
talk about
excuse
that
for the
death
media
warrant.
as well.
Interestingly, the death warrant comment came in from Femi Falana on a TV interview where he said, I'm going to quote, they here meaning the SSS, wanted me to persuade Showore to sign his death warrant and I refused. The government isn't ready for trial. That is why they elongate his detention. That's his lawyer speaking there.
I mean, is there anybody that signs his death warrant? I don't know what he meant by death warrant anyway.
Maybe
it
if
might
we
be
look at the details.
metaphor for something else.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some conditions.
Some conditions that he feels, if you sign this, you're going to be in real trouble. You might be sentenced yourself to death or to life imprisonment. That might be what it's referring to.
Also,
but both of them are educated people.
Yeah.
Even without Falano, I don't think Showore will close his eyes and sign.
No, doesn't look like he will.
Yeah.
Also, the Woloshenka Center for Investigative Journalism had the award presentation yesterday for investigative journalists, and there was a plan to present the vice president with an award, which they then, quote unquote, postponed.
Oh.
Because before then, there had been kind of opera online to say, how can you give him an award? There's been an abuse of the judiciary. The vice president didn't say a thing. What are you
I
clapping
think
for him for?
In the real sense, this is a personal opinion. I think people are not being fair to the vice president. And here is why I said, we are at this junction today. This is not the first time we're here. On the 7th of August 2018, we were exactly at the same junction. And that same VP was the president at that time.
Right.
And he showed us where he stands on recklessness and excesses of DSS. He showed us exactly this is where I stand. And then as a vice president, I don't think that your place in advising your principal is on the pages of newspaper or in press conferences.
Right.
I don't think that is going to happen.
But does it matter whether he shows,
Whether it is here
or
even in the US?
Whether he shows support for his principal by voicing his own concerns or
As a
thoughts?
lawyer,
I'm not sure he has made any open comment
no,
about
he
what
hasn't.
is going on.
No, he hasn't.
What you do when you are in that kind of a situation is that you advise your principal and you don't do it in the press. And I particularly said whether it is here or in the US, you've not even heard any Republican say anything ill about Trump, have you?
Right.
Unfortunately, his silence is not been taken lightly.
It's
by the
not been
people.
taken lightly. That is the situation.
But before we move away from this headline, now we have 14 days ultimatum given to the president. What would you advise the president do?
I think that we have to find a way out of this. Look at what happened when Showore was released for the few hours that he was released. A judge that issued a 24 hours ultimatum. That 24-hour ultimatum was going to lead to a crisis. Because what will happen is that the DSS, if you don't release that guy, then the judge might say, arrest that DSS boss for contempt of court. Then we will go and arrest the DSS.
I would have wanted
So there would have been
it would have been very interesting.
Yeah, so those are situations.
Police can always arrest
Yeah, police can arrest anybody. That is
the ideal.
The ideal.
Right.
But in practice, we might actually have an embarrassing situation.
Yes.
So they had to let him go. We don't want those kind of embarrassing situation because the situation at hand, we can actually find a nice legal way to untangle everything and do the proper thing.
And that process is already ongoing.
It's already ongoing.
So why not just
we
wait
just
it out?
close it out.
Right. Well, let's talk about power. This story is across papers. Power sector privatization fraudulent, Lawan alleges. On the front page of The Guardian, it's also in the Daily Sun. Lawan asked federal government to declare state of emergency in power. Daily Trust, power privatization fraudulent, says Senate President. It's also The Nation. Lawan says power privatization was fraudulent.
It's on the front page of Daily Independent newspaper as well. Lawan calls power privatization fraud, urges state of emergency in sector. He was speaking yesterday. Incidentally, he was at an event organized by the Senate Committee on Power, and he was saying that the previous privatization programs of the federal government in 2005 and 2013 was skewed to favor some people to the detriment of the country at large. And I'm wondering, we know this, or we think we know this, because, I mean, he's entitled to his opinion. Some other people will say that it wasn't the federal government that did this in the first instance, weren't right procedure, due processes, followed when these things were being done. But it has happened. What is the way forward?
You see, our privatization generally has not exactly been as transparent as it could be. Anything whatsoever that we have privatized, you can just flash back and try to imagine any of those former things that were privatized. It's never that transparent in the real sense. But then we have moved forward on this. I do not think that the way forward is to go back on this particular issue. Rather, there are systemic issues around this power thing, and government itself is complicit, incidentally. We have done a privatization. The people did not bring the investment that was supposed to come into that place. Some of them bought it for next to nothing.
Paddy.
All those paddy arrangements. That one is there, but it's now in the past. And some of these people are actually making efforts now to do a few things. So rather than go back, maybe the devil will know. It's better than the angel that we don't know. We're going to now sell it to some new people who will begin again. No, that will not be the way.
Should we sell it to new people, or we review the laws around the power sector to make it more open for private sector participation? Because right now, it's quite a bit rigid.
It's rigid, number one. You have all these, you cannot do beyond this megawatt.
Why just collapse the national, break down that national grid thing.
You have that.
Solves a
You
lot
have
of
the
problems.
issue of the multi-year tariff order. We prepared a tariff order that says when dollar becomes this is how much the tariff will be. When it becomes this is how much. And dollar has since changed. The tariff did not change accordingly. Now, investment is not an emotional thing. So that investor that is coming in must be able to see through his money.
Right.
If I put it in, how will it come back? So with the current collection rate, with the current tariff issues, it is a whole gamut of things that we must be willing to deal with. And all this state of emergency, I don't know what it means, because OBJ declared state of emergency. We still did not have power.
So, I mean,
it's just talk as far as I'm concerned. Rather than all this state of emergency is actually an invitation to recklessness, because you suspend all the normal processes and you want to do anything anyhow. I don't think doing anything anyhow has ever solved any problem in this country.
Right, indeed. Moving on to our next story this morning, and this story breaks my heart. It broke yesterday. Quite very
distasteful
sad.
And
really sad.
Gross.
I mean, we got the news first yesterday, and everybody in the group were just so sad. Domestic staff attack Maersk boss, kill wife. That's the headline from Daily Independence newspaper. The Vanguard has it as well. Electrician attacks Maersk MD, murders wife in Lagos. Vanguard for you. If you go to the Punch newspaper, it's there as well. Estate electrician accomplice attack Maersk MD, kill wife. The Punch newspaper.
A summary of this story. These two men, who one of them had been a technician who always worked in the house, came in. They opened up to him based on recognition. He had always come around to fix things. Really messy and gross story. The locks, according to reports, the husband and the wife in two separate rooms, forced the wife to transfer money, forced her to drink acid, stabbed her. Just
multiple times.
Just gross.
It's just gross.
They've been arrested, but I can't wrap my mind about why someone would do something like that.
Until we get the full investigation reports. The problem with our investigation in Nigeria is that a lot of time we never really get to see the full picture of this. And there are lessons in the full pictures.
Right.
We still live in a country that assumes that because somebody was found hanging on a rope, he committed suicide.
Right.
Or that because there was a suicide note, then he must have committed
Yes.
suicide. So we still live in that kind of an environment. But you see,
Unfortunately.
digging deep into matters like this, number one, it helps to prevent or
Further,
to prepare other people, to know what to do about some of these incidences. There are lessons in them. May God comfort this family at this point in
How
time.
could you have known
I
that somebody that you trust so much, an electrician that fixes everything electrical in your house, could betray your confidence and your trust in such a manner, in such a barbaric manner?
Nobody could have envisaged that. And probably there were also signs. I don't know. That's why
I like what
more
you said.
detail-
Yeah, about looking deeper. There might be more.
There might be
to
more
this
to
story.
this.
There might be. We might find complicity of fraud. There might be just a lot
a
intertwined
lot.
here.
You might even find out at the end of the day that the intention was not to rob. I was already reading somewhere that the intention is to rob. If the robbery issue around it might be a diversion from the proper
bigger
investigation.
Oh.
So once you see robbery, you zero your mind, they are come there to rob. And you forget the bigger piece of meat that is somewhere
But this
there.
is a very sad story.
Pathetic.
Very sad. We sympathize with the family and their loved ones. It's just very pathetic. Well, let's see another story. Fowler hands over to Nami at FIRS. This is on the Nation newspaper. Nami replaces Fowler as FIRS boss. The Guardian newspaper. The Daily Sun. FIRS Nami replaces Fowler. Expert wants new boss to deploy EVAT, swell taxpayers' base. It's also on the Daily Trust. Fowler out as FIRS gets new boss.
It's here on the front page of the Vanguard as well as the Punch newspaper as well. So Gbolahan eventually happened. The tenure of former FIRS boss Fowler expired.
Yeah.
A lot of people were wondering what was causing the delay. Why wait till the tenure even expires in the first place?
Maybe it was going to be renewed.
Usually the announcement will come, then there will be handover process and everything, but that we never saw that.
It could also be the decision on who is this next guy going to be. That could be part of it. I'm delighted at the way the editorials, the stories were published this time around. When it first broke yesterday, the way the papers were reporting was fire.
Even
sack.
the way it was trending online yesterday.
Yes.
It was something else. It was something else totally.
A man has served his
Totally.
tenure up until the last day.
Right.
Why describe it as a sack or a fire?
Right.
Yeah, I think Nigerians like sensationalism. They just like, anything that has a buzz.
Buhari removes this person. Buhari Tinubu this. What is going on?
So it's better the way it's reported. I think reason prevailed on the editors, and we saw the way it is presented. He has served his term, and everybody that serves in those capacities serves at the behest of the president. If the president does not want to renew your term,
absolutely.
And we have seen this anyway. We have seen this coming. I'm sure. In fact, I saw a letter somebody posted where he wrote yesterday, nominating himself for reappointment. So the question is, why on the last day? It could be because there had not been any candidates.
So far.
And he himself wasn't expecting. Otherwise, you won't wait on the last day before you start to lobby.
It was probably confident.
It may not be confident. It might be the fact that he thinks I'm on my way out.
Well, there were also
but
reports.
as at the last date, if you're on your way out, there's nobody else. You say, why don't I even try? Then I write a letter to him. I say, consider me. I'm here.
I'm quite not sure whether he was waiting to be reappointed, because even before he left, there were reports of officials of his agency being under investigation. Some have even been taken in by the EFCC.
Yeah, there's a report by the Premium Times that 9 top FIRS officials are in EFCC custody.
You see, when there is time to change a principal officer of that caliber, let me take your mind back to the CBN governor.
Yeah.
Around the time when it was due, when his contract was due for renewal, that was when the issue of one phone call that broke everything. You will see all sort of things will start to come because people are lobbying for that position. And as far as the politicians are concerned, it is not because of you and I or about Nigeria. It is because I want my own person to go into that post. As simple as that. And we need to understand that. So all those kind of stories will break. It's normal.
Should we begin to be looking at his time as the head of FIRS and what we need to do better? Tax collection in Nigeria is not an easy thing. If you look at, those that are under the tax net and those that are not, and the task ahead for Mr. Nami.
It's even bigger. Mr. Nami, who is also an experienced tax person,
Right.
probably knows where all the dead bodies are buried. So could begin to take it further from where this gentleman has left. It's tough in Nigeria. Some of the people you even need to harass for taxes are people who can pick the phone and call your own boss. And say,
Who is this person?
Want this guy. I don't want him coming to my office. So you might have those kind of situations. So it's a tough game. Bringing more people from the informal sector into the structured tax net is a major challenge. But the guy is also exposed to taxation, and we believe that he will be able. We hope, and I hope that we also give him deliverables. I saw in that letter that Zé Fowler wrote yesterday that he actually attached a list of his achievements. But you see, achievement is not good enough. We don't even know what we set for you. So it's always good to set some targets.
Ouch.
And then we can measure what you call the achievement against those targets.
So we need to
have
set
something like
targets
that for this gentleman.
for the new person. I mean, aptly put. This story made people really happy, including myself. Federal government directs Accountant General (MDAs) to publish daily financial statements. Hello, people. Page 37 of the Daily Sun has details of that story. Okay, so this is where I don't like it. Okay, I found him. I say go to page and I can't see it. President Buhari on Monday ordered the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation to commence daily publication of all government income and expenses in order to avail Nigerians into the workings of government. I was speaking at the launch of the federal government financial transparency policy and portal in Abuja, and was represented by the Minister of State, Niger Delta, Mr. Tayo Lashadura, and said, I quote, the transparency policy approved by the Federal Executive Council requires that the AGF must publish a daily treasury statement which will provide information about what came into the national purse and what went out every single day. I repeat, not me repeating. Tayo Lashadura repeated every single day. Henceforth, Treasury is required to publish this information unfailingly, and there's a website for this.
Beautiful.
I love it.
I hope that Tayo himself is going to be sitting on this. He's an accountant, and he knows his onions. We need this level of transparency, and hopefully, we will also. Anyway, I hope
Why are you laughing?
at least the civil society organization.
This is not going to work. Let's not waste our time.
Why?
We run an analog government.
No.
Well, then we open the website.
This
Honestly,
government is
my own
not
fear is
digital.
totally different. My fear is the
This
fact that
government is
the
not digital.
information that are out there, we're not even using them. Nigerians don't go to the budget office to go and read budget.
Right.
We don't go to FBS to go and see the publication.
Yeah.
Even when banks were ordered to publish on daily basis the utilization of FX, how many Nigerians open those pages to read it?
Can we go back to the MBS you mentioned? Is it not the MBS that said it couldn't release the figures of unemployment since last year?
No, that's
because of unemployment were released.
No, since last year. They released last year.
because they had funding issues.
Because they said they have funding issues.
But they have a lot of data.
If you have funding issues, how can you put together your data? How can you even begin to gather your data?
But NBS has a lot of data.
Number one, there is for this particular data, it is available ready.
It's available.
And you can pull it at any time. See,
there's no problem to argue. Yeah. Let's just wait. We'll come back to this point again.
But if you want to know
don't
how
forget
much...
there's a TSA.
Right.
We want to know what's going on.
Sitting in Lagos there and processing transaction on that TSA.
Right.
Bam. Now, the Treasury will publish payments of at least 10 million naira, any transaction at least 10 million naira daily, while MDAs must publish payments above 5 million naira made out of public funds under the purview. So go online, go check out that website. Like Gbolahan said, it's not enough to publish if you're not reading and asking questions about that data.
In fact,
it's useless.
if we're not using it, they will stop at the point. We won't even know they are.
We won't
Right,
even know when they
right,
stop. Very
right.
apt there. Let me read some comment from Twitter on our way out. We have a comment here. I don't want to miss this one. Wale Odubote says, Nigerian Phil, do you know that some of us got to know there is a government agency called DSS during this administration? Interesting.
No.
He's saying himself.
For him.
He's saying
For some of
himself.
them, yeah.
And that's very interesting. And he's saying, wait, is it even DSS or SSS? By law, it is SSS.
Right.
They're just nicknamed DSS, but by law, it's SSS. Joy Forever says, power sector cannot be done without proper law unless we want to plunge ourselves into darkness. Mask robbery is pathetic. Publishing daily, talking about this, is not going to work. Who will pay for daily advertisement? No, it's on the
It's
website.
not on the papers.
It's on the
In the
website.
papers,
It's not that deep. It's very easy. Only Victor Akiolakwade on Facebook says, welcome back to Gbolahan. He says it's good to see my brother back. Says he's missed the objective analysis. Oh. Only Victor on Akiolakwade.
Okay.
Thank you. When we come back from the break, we're talking human rights.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a Human Rights Day. And there's a very interesting headline I saw here. Yeah, on Anti-Corruption Day, Buhari promises more bites. What would we be biting? Let's bite into the conversation at 8 o'clock. And we'll be speaking to the former boss of the National Human Rights Commission. Let's talk human rights after the break. Gbolahan, thank you for coming in.
It's good to be here again.
Welcome back. Let's talk about what you brought when we go on the break. We'll see you again shortly. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
I'm Sheriff Quadry.